Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel, Home Sweet Classroom. Thank you for coming by and visiting me and supporting me in my teaching journey. I am so glad you guys are here today. I'm going to be sharing with you guys my very best 10 tips for first year teachers. If you are new, my name is Maritza Lara and I'm currently sitting in my classroom and I'm going to be sharing with you guys some tips for first year teachers. It's that time of the season, so I thought why not a better time to share with you guys and give you some good tips to carry along with you in your teaching journey as well. I currently teach 4th grade elementary and I have been in the elementary field for the 6 years that I have been teaching now. I'm going into my 6th year teaching and I've only taught a couple grade levels. I've taught 4th grade, I've taught a little bit of 5th grade, I have taught 2nd grade, I have taught 1st grade, and I'm currently teaching in a 4th grade classroom. I am in such a privilege because right now I'm currently teaching overseas serving military children. My husband is active duty. If you're not familiar with my YouTube channel, I've mentioned it in some videos before, but I wanted to share with you guys my special privilege that I get to be in this kind of environment. I currently teach overseas and I am serving solely military children, so it is a very unique situation, and I've actually learned and gained a lot of knowledge and insight as to teaching in a new type of environment. I am certified in bilingual education and my heart and desire is to be in a bilingual classroom, but I currently am teaching in a classroom that is a general ed education classroom. I want to tell you and emphasize that I am in no way an expert. I am still learning and still growing as a teacher. I love learning from other teachers as well, and I'm just so privileged to be around actually a wealth of teachers here that are so knowledgeable. I'm constantly asking questions and gaining insight from them, and those are some of the tips that I'm going to be sharing with you guys in just a little bit. One thing that I do want to share with you guys is that if you are not on Teachers Connect yet, you need to be on it right now. It is going to be my last tip that I share with you guys, so stay tuned to hear more about that. So my very first tip that I have for you guys is to observe other teachers and gain and absorb all that information, because there are so many teachers out there that have ideas and are knowledgeable in different areas that you might not be. And I think as a first year teacher, I wasn't open to that. I kind of kept to myself and I wanted to do things the way my college and career readiness taught me, and it just was difficult for me to kind of open up to new ideas. But I want to strongly suggest to you to open up to those ideas and absorb them as much as you can. Put them in your pocket for later, because there are so many teachers out there with great ideas that there are educators out there that are willing to share those ideas with you. Not only do you want to absorb those ideas, but also absorb that positivity. You want only positive vibes. I tell my students all the time, and I put it out there, positive vibes only. If you're not going to be positive, don't say anything at all. It's so important to be positive in the field of education, because there are some days that you are just going to feel really down, and some days that you're going to feel really good. But if you have those people around you and educators around you that are positive all the time, it just makes educating and teaching so much easier, and the environment is so much better. Everything around feels so much better. My second tip kind of goes with my first tip, and it's to follow and let veteran teachers guide you in the right direction. A lot of people, including myself, because I am a young teacher, we tend to push away the old ways, and honestly, those veteran teachers have a lot of insight and a lot of good feedback for pre-service teachers, and I think it's important to take that into consideration and be willing to take that advice from veteran teachers. My third tip for you is to create a plan for parents. So as a first year teacher, we're so consumed with all the things that we need to do, but I strongly suggest to make a plan for parents. So if you're teaching the elementary field, parents are going to be involved. It's like a given. If you're teaching in the middle school, high school area, it's not so much, but you still want to create a plan for parents who do want to be involved or want to be given advice or being informed of information. So you want to create a means of communication with parents. So not only a plan for involvement and volunteering and all of those good things, but also a means of communication, because you do want that connection with the parents, because when you want it the most, it's sometimes difficult to get parents to volunteer, but when you do need them and you have that plan, it's always so much easier. My fourth tip for first-time teachers is to do some self-care. You want to make sure you're paying attention to your body. Keep calm and just teach on. It's going to be okay. Some things I suggest are taking like a day off, having a manicure pedicure day for yourself, and just make sure you're listening to your body. A lot of the times, including myself, my husband always has to tell me, you need to drink more water, making sure that I have a healthy lunch. All of those things contribute to having a little bit of self-care, regardless whether they're in school or out of school. Sometimes we just got to take a little bit of a moment to think about ourselves and think about our bodies and how we're taking care of ourselves. So pay attention to those things and make sure you're not neglecting yourself, especially during those testing times and field trip times, end of the year, beginning of the year, conferences. I could keep going, but it seems like all year we're busy. But if you're paying attention to your body and just doing a little bit of balancing out, it just makes it all the easier. My fifth tip for you is to ask for help. I think that is the biggest thing I struggled with as a first year teacher, is that I really didn't ask for help, and unfortunately it just made the workload a lot bigger for me. And it's not always easy to ask for help, especially when it comes to if you're in a new state or at a new school. It contributes a lot to your friends and your teacher friends that you might have, or if you even know anybody. I think though that asking for help makes it a lot easier to be approachable. A lot of the times when you ask for help, they realize that you're open to suggestion and you're open to advice. So it makes it a lot easier for others to also help you, and that's especially the door you do want to open. Asking for help from parents and from mentors and from other people in the community, having those doors open really opens a lot of opportunity. I can't emphasize enough to ask for help. Don't do it alone. When you're doing projects and things in your classroom and you want to get some community help, if you go out and ask them for help, mention that you're a teacher, what school you work at, show them your badge, I can guarantee you that they will be willing to help. I don't know how many times I've reached out to the community and they are more than willing to help. My next tip for you is to focus on a classroom management and stick to it from the beginning of the year. And I have to say that as a first year teacher, I really struggled with this, and I still continue to struggle a bit. I'm constantly looking for ways to improve my classroom management and to be as effective as possible. And honestly, the biggest secret is to start at the beginning of the year and stick to it. Recently, I listened to Pocket Full of Primary. If you're not familiar with her, you should go check out her channel. She is an amazing teacher. And she talks about how she changes her classroom management every quarter. And honestly, I thought this was brilliant. It's not like this crazy elaborate thing, but just with a little tweak, every quarter students were more and more intrigued and engaged, and it just worked out really well for her group. And in my opinion, as an educator, I think that your classroom management really depends on your students. For example, if something's not working and you feel like your classroom management is failing because your students aren't challenged enough to do their very best, then I think that's when you need to change it and where it fits your students' needs. My seventh tip for you is to let your students get to know you and you get to know them in and outside of the classroom. Don't be afraid to get out there and join their sports, or not join them, don't join them, but to get out there and be there present for their sports when they invite you. Your students are really honestly quite interesting because they want you to be there, even if you're just present for just a little bit. And in this way, you get to know your students on a personal level. You get to know their interests and what they like and how they go about things in the afternoon, and you honestly get to know them in a personal level, and I think that really means a lot to them. and being there for it means a lot to them. So I think in this aspect it's important to start that at the beginning of the year, and in this way you're building relationships with them and growing with them. As a first year teacher, I think that using your time in the evenings to love children in this way, it really gets you really get to know yourself as a teacher, and your students get to know you because you're going to continue growing and seeing them throughout the years. So why not a better way to grow and build on these relationships in and outside of the classroom? I'm almost done with my tips. So my very next tip is to be organized and lesson plan like your life depends on it. Honestly, I think as a first year teacher, I was prepared enough by my mentor and my school. They prepared me so well for this. I can't complain. I really think that lesson planning and being prepared and organized has a lot to do with how effective you are in the classroom. If you're unprepared and if you're feeling like you don't know what you're going to do the next day, there's something wrong, and you definitely want to take a step back and look at what you have in front of you. Look at your resources, look at all the things you have that support you as a teacher in the classroom, and put it all together. Spend an afternoon or during the weekend on a Sunday evening getting your coffee or your tea and getting in some comfy clothes on the couch. Lesson planning is by far the essential thing that you definitely want to do, whether it's digital planning or a hard copy of what you want to do in the classroom. I personally lesson plan for a whole week, and I do enjoy it. I tweak it as I go. Obviously it doesn't always go as planned. We sometimes do less, sometimes we do more. As a first year teacher, I think that really helped me in the classroom. I had my lesson plans in front of me, and I always knew what I was going to do that day. Whether it changed or not, I had a layout or an outline that really was going to help me be successful for that day, and my students for any minute of the day. I knew exactly what I was going to do, and there was no chaos. Ninth tip is to set clear expectations from the very start. A lot of the times you'll hear, be nice, but don't get too nice. So I highly suggest to set clear expectations. Make sure you post them on the walls, make sure you're reviewing them. Spend those first 3 weeks really drilling down those expectations and what you want your students and what you expect from them. I highly suggest that because it's going to pay off at the end, or toward the second, third quarter. Your students are really going to understand. It won't be an issue anymore. Sometime at the end of the year, you might have to reinforce those and bring those expectations back and the class rules back. But sometimes it's really important to really make sure that your students understand you as a teacher, because every year they're changing classrooms, and new teachers have different expectations, have different rules, so they have to kind of get to know what you want as a classroom teacher. And my very last tip, I promise, is seeking opportunities for growing and learning. As a classroom teacher, I think it's so important that we continue seeking educational opportunities. And as a first year teacher, I think I was so appreciative of the school I was at, because they were always bringing professional development into our school, and every year I felt like I grew, like I learned something new, I incorporated something new in my classroom. All of my colleagues also were joining in the fun, and honestly I think there's so much other professional developments outside that are free, that are sometimes online. There are conferences that you can go to. You don't need to be or spend so much money to join these conferences. There are so many opportunities out there that are free, including the Teachers Connect that I was just telling you guys at the beginning of this video. Teachers Connect is a wonderful way to connect with other teachers that have a wealth of knowledge, and also there are professional developments that are advertised within Teachers Connect, and there are just so many other ways that you can grow as a teacher, and you don't need to step out of the state, step out of the country to get those opportunities. So I highly suggest as a first year teacher to keep that in mind, that you have these opportunities out there, that you're not alone, and there are ways for you to grow as a teacher, even after stepping out of school stepping out of school that you went to for so long. As a first year teacher, I didn't know about these opportunities until a couple years after, and exploring and learning and actually reaching out to other teachers through YouTube of all these other ways. For example, this summer I'm going to be attending virtually the Educators to Educators professional development, and I'm super excited because they're going to have all these types of educational professional development classes, and I don't even have to step out of my house. So there are so many ways to grow as a classroom teacher, no matter what level of learning you are or teaching you are. So I highly suggest you take that into consideration as you're coming into this field. So that is all the tips I have for you guys today. I hope these 10 tips are helpful to you and they go with you in your new journey, and I want to wish you good luck. You are not alone in this world. There are so many teachers out there that are willing to help you and to grow with you as well, give you and share with you a wealth of ideas that they also have. Congratulations to those teachers that are just stepping into a classroom and you're ready to teach on. I am so happy for you. I cannot wait to see all the great things that you guys are doing out there. Don't forget that you're not alone. There are so many teachers that are willing to share their ideas and just collaborate with you. So don't be afraid to reach out, and I'd love to hear from you if you are a first-time teacher or just watching because you want to learn some more. Thank you so much for watching this video. I greatly appreciate all your love and support, and I hope these 10 tips really helped you and you're able to use them in your first year teaching. I will see you guys later. Ciao for now.